So in example 2, we've got some, again, looking at common factors, but we've got some different looking ones here, okay, which we'll need to go through. Again, just a little bit harder than the other ones, but you can probably cope, I should imagine. So let's do A first. And we've got here 6r plus xr plus yr. Obviously, you can see what is common. The r's are common in all those three terms. Notice we've got three terms this time. So it doesn't matter if we've got 3 terms, 4 terms, 5 terms. As long as we look at something common, we can take it out and put it at the front of the brackets. So let's take r out. Now if I take r out, what's left over from 6r? It's obviously 6. What's left over from xr? It is just x. And what's left over from yr? It is y. So the answer is r outside of 6 plus x plus y. Okay, let's look at B. Now we've got a 9x, an 18xy, and a 12x squared. So we've got numbers and letters to deal with. Let's deal with the numbers first. So we need something that's common, that goes into 9, 18, and 12, and the largest one possible. So 3 goes into all of those. 6 doesn't, because 6 doesn't go into 9, but does into 18 and 12, but we still can't have 6 because it doesn't go into 9. So 3 would be the highest. So I'm going to write 3 at the front. Also notice I've got an x here, an x here, and an x squared here. So I'm going to put an x out the front as well. And now what are we going to have in brackets? Well, 3x times what gives me 9x, and that will be 3, plus 3x times what gives me 18xy. Let's do the number first. 3 times 6 will give me 18, so I'll need a 6 there. I don't need to have an x because there's already an x at the front of the brackets, but I need to have a y. So it'll be 6y. Plus, the last one, we have 3 times what will give me 12. Well, I'll need a 4, because 3 4s are 12. I have an x squared. I already have an x, so I'll need to throw another x in there. So when I multiply it out, I'll get an x squared. And again, if you want to check your answer, we can multiply it out. And we can quickly do that. 3x times 3 is 9x. 3x times 6y. 3 times 6 is 18. xy. And 3x times 4x will give me 12x squared. Alright, part C. Now, if you look at part C is a little bit unusual. Notice we've got two lots of brackets. So the initial reaction is, oh, we need to expand it out. But no, I'm not going to expand it out, because what you might notice with the brackets is that what's inside the brackets is exactly the same. Okay, so x minus 1 and x minus 1 here. So that is what's common. That's what's common to both terms, the x minus 1. And remember, whatever is common, we put out the front of the brackets. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to write the x minus 1 at the front of the brackets. But because the x minus 1 is a whole entity, okay, we really need to put brackets around it. So the x minus 1 here is just like the r here, and just like the 3x here. It is what's at the front of the brackets. Next, we have to write what's left over in the brackets. So essentially what we're doing is we're writing what's left over if we remove the x minus 1. So when we remove the x minus 1, we're left with a 4 from the first term. And when we remove the x minus 1 from the second term, we're left with a y. So when we factorise, take out common factors for this one here, we end up with a binomial, 2 terms multiplied together. Okay? Similarly with D. Notice in D, we've got a y plus 3 and a y plus 3. So the y plus 3 is common, so we put it at the front. like that. In our second bracket, we write down what's left over. So what's left over from our term here? It's x. We write down x. Minus, what's left over from our second one? Well, it's not that obvious because there's nothing in front of the brackets. But remember, when there's nothing in front of the brackets, it's just like having a 1 under the brackets. So we're going to put a 1 here. Now again, if we multiplied all of this out, we'd end up with the brackets. I'm not going to do that now because we might do that a little bit later in our third example. Okay, so remember common factors. What is the same in each of the terms to take out the front?